I want to thank everybody for taking their time to come here today. Please, come on, don't be shy. Come on in. We have been, and Assemblyman Castelli will speak a little bit to the hardship in the New York State Assembly, but to get into the reality of this piece of legislation and how important it is. In this region, within a 75-mile radius, we have tens of thousands of veterans that are underserved. There's a very generous federal program that allows for the creation of a state veterans cemetery, including a full reimbursement for the construction of that cemetery and a per burial reimbursement of $700 per burial. That was increased from $250. I don't know the exact number, but I believe there are over 30 states in this country that take advantage of this very generous federal program. New York State is one of the ones that does not. We have Mr. Guido here, and he will speak, I think he is here, unless Eugene he ran away. He will speak in a little bit about really the hardship that is created by having such a small number of federally supported cemeteries. So right now, following the Arlington model, there are 2 cemeteries in the state of New York for our veterans. One is in Calverton in Long Island. That's over 100 miles drive, I believe. And then in Saratoga, there's one there as well, which is approximately another 100 miles in the exact opposite direction. Now, not only is there concern with veterans not wanting to be interned in those sites because of the distance and the hardship on the families, but then the hardship that's created by the families to have to travel such a distance. We're losing thousands of World War II, Korean War, and other veterans every single day. And the reality is that because it's such a generous federal program, it is just common sense that we do the right thing, pass the enabling legislation in both the Assembly and the Senate, and get this done. With the help of Assemblyman Bob Castelli, who, there are show horses and then there are work horses. Assemblyman Bob Castelli may be a good-looking guy, but he's also a workhorse. This man is a workhorse. And for him in the minority in the Assembly to be such an advocate is really an amazing tribute and an amazing feat. And last year, we passed this bill in the Senate twice, just for good measure. And we were able, working with Bob and others, to get $500,000 placed in the budget. What is that $500,000 for? The $500,000 placed in the New York State budget is to make sure that for the federal government requests that the state put 15% on the table to show its commitment towards the construction of the initial cemetery. Okay? So we got that done. We had it placed in the budget. It came in, it came out, came in, it came out. The final budget, it was in there. Unfortunately, the Assembly never passed the legislation that we passed in the Senate. Now, moving forward, the governor has kept that $500,000 in the budget. We're going to fight as a team to make sure that that $500,000 stays in the budget. Bob and I are fighting to make sure that there's enabling legislation actually passed within the budget itself so we can get this done as a budgetary item. But what I'm asking here as a final pitch is that we really engage residents in calling their elected representatives to reach out and to support New York State's involvement in the construction, in the federal program, which will allow the construction of a state veterans cemetery. If there are any questions, I know that sometimes there was quite honestly, when I got involved in this issue, there was a lot of confusion even amongst members. When this legislation, and this has been around for a while, this federal program has been around for a while, there were certain members in New York State that said, well, I want one in my district. Now, we can only construct one was the concept. That's not the case at all. Arizona right now, I think, has 13 applications in. What the federal government does is you can put in any number of applications throughout the state. The federal government then racks and stacks those according to, they put a center point, they draw a 75-mile radius, the number of underserved veterans within that radius. All those applications will be considered over time. It's simply racked and stacked according to the number of underserved veterans. Now that said, in this region, because we have such a large number of underserved veterans, we would certainly be on top of the priority list. I'm happy that that's the case, but this is about a statewide program and accessing federal dollars that are already there that New York State now, because of inaction, simply cannot access, and a huge number, literally hundreds of thousands of veterans that are now underserved because of that inaction. So that's enough said. I'm sorry that it doesn't fit neatly into a 30-second soundbite, but that's just the complexity of the issue itself. We've moved this further than it ever has been moved. We need to get it done this session. Assemblyman Costello.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, by the way, for your efforts on behalf of all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, as a Vietnam veteran, as the ranking member of Veterans Affairs in the New York State Assembly, the message is very simple. No veteran in New York State should be denied the dignity of an honorable burial after a lifetime of faithful service to this nation. And unfortunately, because of the nature of things, there are only 2 veteran cemeteries, as Senator Ball has mentioned. All of those are a hardship for most of our veterans to get to. You know, many people don't realize, but New York's veterans are among the highest number of any of the states in the country. More than 950,000 veterans are alive in New York State. And as Senator Ball pointed out, over 1,000 of them a day from the greatest generation, that generation that saved the world for us back in World War II, are dying at a rate of more than 1,000 a day. We need to be able to guarantee them a dignified, honorable burial. There is money available, but unfortunately, in Albany, politics sometimes reigns supreme. It was a fight last year to get this bill passed. In the Senate, it was a bigger fight to get it out to the floor and never got voted on in the Assembly. So we are asking all of you, this is in a nonpartisan fashion, to contact all of the representatives, and you can contact either one of our district offices to get a list of the people who are on the Veterans Affairs Committee in the Senate, the Veterans Affairs Committee in the Assembly, and the other individuals who can move this legislation. Get the list from us. Please write them, call them, email them. Let them know how important this is for you to honor our veterans. I want to thank you, and I want to thank all of our veterans here. They have given us a nation that is a wonderful nation, the greatest on this earth, and were it not for their sacrifice and their service, we wouldn't have it. It is a very small part, on behalf of myself, Senator Ball, who are both veterans, to be able to say thank you to them by trying to guarantee them a dignified burial in the final time of their life. Thank you so much.
At this point, I'd like to bring up Mr. Guido, who's the, one point was the exalted ruler of the Fraternal Order of the Elks in the Bronx, has been in the funeral business for about 61 years.
61 years December.
And he's going to give us a few words on what's going on here with this.
I guess they asked me about the cost of graves today in the metropolitan area, which we're part of. Cemetery prices are like $2,500 to $3,500 to purchase the plot for 2, and then the opening charge, which vary. Some are up to $1,900 to open up the grave that you bought for $3,000. And of course, fortunately, not many people are dying. The death rate is down, believe it or not. And the cemeteries, the little land they're having, they're lucky to get the most out of it, which they're doing. And they're elevating their price. Every year they have an increase. Well, they have to go to the State Cemetery Board for approval, which they do. And they're increasing, and they know their days are coming to an end. Kensico Cemetery, Gate of Heaven here locally, and all the local cemeteries are all under pressure. So the veterans who are dying and who are way out of the area, the family says we have to go to Calverton, 75, or from here 100 miles, they opt for the local areas, which becomes prohibitive in purchasing. And as you hear on television every day, I hear a funeral costs $7,000, and that's true. The funeral home itself is $7,000, and then the purchase of a grave between $3,000 and $4,000. That's $11,000, $12,000 a family has to come up with, which everyone doesn't have, unfortunately. So what they're trying to do here is a necessity, and hopefully I hope it does go through. That's it.
Thank you very much, cousin. I appreciate that very much. Just want to introduce Commander Prokopis from the American Legion. All right, say a word or two, please. Anything you feel like saying.
I think it's a fantastic venture, and God help us, it will work.
One more thing before we go. I just, we're going to have a singer here. We're going to sing God Bless America. Mike from the American Legion right here. All right. Just stand here for a second. I just want to say one thing before we go. We're here today. There's 2 members on this wall that are from the Mount Kisco area. Captain Flavio Benini, who is a Mount Kisco posthumous honoree. And right here we have a Captain Eric Jones from Pound Ridge, also from this district. These gentlemen are part of this moving wall. And as a sort of official spokesman for a lot of people who can't be here, it's in their name. It might be my face on the wall, it might be my name on the wall, but it's their voice that you hear. The cemetery built at the center and Assemblyman Castelli are sponsoring is very important to us. Very important to you. I'll say this one more time. I said it before. I'm going to say it again before I let this gentleman sing. Freedom and liberty are the title and deed of the soil we stand on. The price of that freedom and liberty is very, very expensive. The men on this wall, the men that are in uniform, and the women pay that price every day. Senator Ball, Assemblyman Castelli, pay that price with honor, dignity, and respect. As a veteran, that's all I could ask any of my elected officials, and I really want to pay respect. Thank you guys. God bless you, and God bless America. And I have a gentleman now that's going to actually prove that for me. Go ahead. Mike?
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet